My dear friends, welcome back. Today, I want to speak to you heart to heart, the way one older soul speaks to another. You know, the older we get, the more we start to see life clearly. People change, relationships shift, and experiences teach us lessons we never understood in our younger years. And one of the biggest lessons life teaches us after 55 is this: not everything needs to be shared. Not every thought, every memory, every worry, or every plan deserves a place in someone else's ears. And the truth is, not everyone around you truly understands your journey. My friend, you deserve peace. You deserve privacy. You deserve to protect the parts of your life that keep you strong. And today, we're going to talk about the things you should quietly keep to yourself. Not because you're hiding anything, but because your dignity and emotional safety matter. Before we start, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Just drop your state or city in the comments below. It helps us feel like one community here, learning together and supporting one another. Point 1. Why you should never share your financial details after 55. My friend, once you cross your mid-50s, your money becomes more than just dollars in an account. It becomes your safety, your independence, and your quiet confidence. That's why your financial details should stay private, no matter how close someone seems. You see, when people know exactly what you have, your pension, your savings, your property, or even what you plan to leave behind, their behavior changes, sometimes without them even realizing it. A person who once treated you normally may suddenly become overly sweet, overly curious, or quietly resentful. And at this stage in life, you don't need that kind of energy around you. Many seniors make the mistake of sharing everything with their children, relatives, or friends because they think they should know. I trust them. But trust doesn't mean full disclosure. You can love your family and still protect your privacy. When others know your financial strengths, they may start expecting help, offering opinions you didn't ask for, or assuming they have a say in your decisions. Some may even begin planning their own future based on your money. And that takes away the freedom you deserve in your golden years. You've worked hard for decades. You've earned your peace, your choices, and your independence. You don't owe anyone an explanation about how much you have or how you choose to spend it. If you want to help someone, do it quietly from your heart, but don't open the door for people to count your blessings like they belong to them. Keep your financial matters between you, God, and the legal documents meant to protect you. Privacy here isn't secrecy, it's wisdom. And wisdom is something you've earned with every year of your life. Point 2. Why you should never share the full story of your past mistakes and regrets. My friend, by the time you reach your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you've lived through more chapters than most people can imagine. Some were beautiful, some were painful, and some changed you in ways only your heart understands. But here's something important. Not everyone deserves to know the parts of your past that once brought you shame, regret, or heartache. Your mistakes were your teachers, not your identity. They helped you grow into the wiser, calmer person you are today. There is no need to hand those old memories over to people who may not appreciate the journey behind them. You see, when you open up the deepest corners of your past, people don't always respond with compassion. Some listen just to compare. Some listen to judge. And some keep those stories in their back pocket to bring up later, especially when emotions run high. Suddenly, something you shared in trust becomes a topic in someone else's conversation. Your private lessons become their gossip. And that is a pain no older adult should ever feel. What happened 20, 30, or 40 years ago is between you and God. You've already carried the burden. You don't need others looking at you through the lens of who you used to be. At this age, your peace matters more than their curiosity. You are not the person you were back then. You've grown, healed, and survived things most people will never understand. So protect that growth by keeping your past mistakes sacred. It's perfectly fine to share a small lesson with someone if it might help them, but you don't need to reveal every detail. Some stories belong only to your heart. And that's not being secretive, that's being wise. Point 3. Why you should never share your family's private problems. My friend, once you reach your later years, one truth becomes clearer than ever. Your family's dignity is also your dignity. And that's why the private struggles inside your home should stay there, safe, protected, and unseen by outsiders. Every family has disagreements, hurt feelings, misunderstandings, and moments of tension. That's normal. But the moment you share those problems with neighbors, friends, or even distant relatives, You open a door that's very hard to close again. People love to listen, but not everyone listens with kindness. Some listen just to have something to talk about later. And once your family's private matters leave your mouth, they no longer belong to you. They belong to the world. Stories get twisted. Details get exaggerated. Opinions form. Before long, people start judging your children, your spouse, or your grandchildren based on something you said during a moment of frustration. And the worst part? Those same people won't be there to fix the relationships inside your home. You will. You've probably noticed that when you talk about your family's faults, outsiders rarely help bring peace. Instead, they add fuel. Oh, I can't believe she said that. Or, your son shouldn't treat you that way. Their words may feel comforting in the moment, but later, they only make your heart heavier. You end up feeling guilty, embarrassed, or more hurt than before. The wise thing, the peaceful thing, is to protect your home from outside eyes. If something is troubling you, speak to God, or talk privately with someone truly neutral, like a counselor. But don't hand strangers the power to judge the people you love. Point 4. Why you should never share your future plans too early. My friend, after 55, your future becomes something deeply personal. You've spent your whole life giving, supporting, and doing what others expected. Now, your dreams, goals, and plans belong to you, not to the opinions of the world. And that's exactly why you should never share your future plans too early. When you speak too soon, you invite doubt, jealousy, and unnecessary advice into something that is still fragile and growing. Maybe you're thinking about moving somewhere peaceful, starting a small business, helping someone quietly, traveling more, or even making important decisions about your home or health. These are beautiful, meaningful steps. But the moment you tell people, especially the wrong people, they start questioning you. Are you sure you can still do that at your age? That sounds risky. You should just stay home and rest. And suddenly, the excitement inside you begins to shrink. Not because you were wrong, but because someone planted doubt where confidence should have been. At this age, you don't need negativity pulling you backward. You need space to breathe, think, and move toward what brings you peace. There's another truth that wise elders understand. People don't like when you grow without their permission. Some feel insecure. Some feel jealous. Some don't want you to change because your growth makes them uncomfortable. That's why silent progress is powerful. When you work quietly, no one can interfere, distract, or hold you back. Your dreams are like seeds. They need time to grow underground before they see the sun. If you expose them too early, they may never bloom. So protect your plans. Nurture them quietly. Then, when the time is right and your success is already strong, let the results speak for you. Point 5. Why you should never share too much about your health problems. My friend, as we grow older, our bodies change in ways we never imagined when we were younger. Some days are good, some days are painful, and some days feel heavier than others. That is completely normal. But here's the part many older adults don't realize. Not everyone needs to know every detail of your health. Talking too much about your medical issues can sometimes bring more stress than support. People may ask out of habit, out of curiosity, or simply because they want something to talk about later. And once your health becomes a topic of conversation, you lose a little bit of your dignity and a little bit of your peace. When you constantly talk about your aches, your medications, or your doctor visits, people begin to see you differently. They stop seeing the strong, wise person you are and start seeing you only as someone with problems. And you deserve better than that. You are more than your pain. You are more than your illnesses. You are a full human being with experiences, stories, love, and wisdom that cannot be reduced to a list of symptoms. Sharing too much can also invite unwanted advice. Suddenly, everyone becomes a doctor, telling you which foods to eat, what medicines to stop, what remedies to try. Too many opinions can confuse you, overwhelm you, and make you doubt your own judgment or your doctor's. And sometimes, all those conversations drain your hope instead of lifting your spirit. Of course, you should always talk to your doctor. And if you have someone you truly trust, a spouse, a child, or a caregiver, it's okay to share what's necessary. But don't feel pressured to update the whole world. Your health is your private journey, and it deserves respect. Speak more about your hope, your progress, and your gratitude. Speak less about the things that weigh you down. Because protecting your emotional strength is just as important as protecting your physical health. Point 6. Why you should never share your deepest emotions with everyone. My friend, as the years pass and life slows down, your heart becomes more sensitive, more reflective, and sometimes more fragile. You start remembering old moments, thinking about loved ones you've lost, and wondering about the chapters of life that changed you. These deep emotions are real. They're heavy, and they deserve respect. But that doesn't mean they deserve an audience. Not everyone around you is capable of holding your feelings gently. Not everyone listens with the intention to understand. Some listen only to judge, compare, or gossip later. When you open your heart to the wrong person, you don't just hand them your emotions. You hand them your vulnerability. And many times, they won't protect it the way you hoped. They may say, "Oh, you're thinking too much," or "just get over it." Or they might tell someone else, "You know, she's really struggling." Suddenly, something you shared in trust becomes a story in someone else's mouth. And that kind of disappointment hits harder when you're older because your heart has already carried enough. There's a quiet wisdom in keeping your emotional world private. When you learn to comfort yourself, to sit with your feelings without explaining them, you develop a strength many younger people never learn. It doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're hiding. It simply means you respect your own peace. If you ever need to talk, choose someone who has proven their loyalty, someone who listens without judgment. Or talk to God, the one who never interrupts, never misunderstands, and never repeats what you tell him. Point 7. Why you should never share old family conflicts or grudges. My friend, by the time you reach your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you've carried enough memories, some sweet, some painful, and some you wish you could erase. Old family conflicts fall into that last category. Maybe someone in the family hurt you years ago. Maybe there were arguments, misunderstandings, or moments that broke your heart. Those experiences leave marks, and it's natural to think about them from time to time. But sharing those old conflicts with everyone around you does more harm than healing. When you talk about something that happened 10, 20, or even 30 years ago, the emotions come back to life. The anger returns. The sadness returns. The disappointment returns. And instead of moving forward, you pull yourself back into a time that no longer exists. Outsiders don't always help, either. Many will say things like, "You were right," or "I can't believe they did that to you." Their words may feel comforting at first, but inside, they push you deeper into old wounds that we're trying to close. And here's the truth. Holding on to grudges at this stage of life steals your peace. It takes away your calm mornings and your gentle evenings. It keeps you tied to people who are no longer a part of your present. And when you share these conflicts with younger family members, you unintentionally pass your bitterness on to them. They begin to see others through your pain, not through their own experiences. That creates division that can last for generations. The wisest people learn to let the past rest. They choose peace over revenge. They choose healing over remembering who was wrong. Forgiveness doesn't mean the hurt never happened. It simply means the hurt no longer controls your life. And when someone tries to bring up old issues, you can gently say, "That's in the past. I'm at peace now." Those few words show strength far greater than any argument ever could. Point 8. Why you should never share the private details of your personal life or boundaries. My friend, as you grow older, your personal life becomes your sanctuary. Your home, your routines, your habits, your quiet moments. These are not just daily activities anymore. They are your comfort, your safety, and your peace. And one of the biggest mistakes many older adults make is explaining too much about how they live. They tell people when they sleep, who visits them, why they don't attend certain gatherings, or why they prefer to be alone. But the truth is, you don't owe anyone these explanations. Not at this age. Not after all you've lived through. When you explain your boundaries too often, people begin to feel they have the right to question them. They might say, "Why don't you come out more?" Or "Why don't you talk to so-and-so?" Or "Who was that person I saw at your house?" And suddenly, your private life becomes a public discussion. That creates pressure. It makes you feel watched, judged, or misunderstood, when all you wanted was peace. The older you get, the more important it becomes to protect your emotional space. If spending time alone brings you peace, that's perfectly valid. If you choose not to entertain visitors, that's your right. If you have boundaries with certain people, you don't need to justify them. You've lived long enough to know what drains your energy and what restores it. And your comfort is just as important as anyone else's demands. Keeping certain parts of your personal life private is not being rude. It's being wise. It keeps your mind calm, your heart steady, and your home peaceful. So instead of explaining yourself again and again, use simple, gentle lines like, "I'm doing what feels right for me these days." That's all. You don't need to say anything more. Your life belongs to you, and not everyone needs a window into it. Point 9. Why you should never share your blessings and good fortune too quickly. My friend, when something good happens in your life, whether it's improved health, a financial blessing, a family victory, or simply a season of peace, the natural reaction is to share it. You want people to know you're doing well. You want to celebrate with others. And there's nothing wrong with joy. But here's the part many older adults forget. Not every smile around you is sincere. Not every listener has a clean heart. And sharing your blessings too quickly can sometimes invite jealousy, comparison, or silent resentment. When you tell people about the good things happening in your life, some will be genuinely happy for you, but others may feel envy. Some may wonder why your life improved while theirs didn't. And a few may say things that, without meaning harm, weaken your happiness. "Let's see how long it lasts," or "You're lucky." Not everyone gets that. Those words stick in your mind, and suddenly your joy doesn't feel as bright as it did before. Wise people understand that blessings grow best in silence. When you receive something good, take a moment to thank God privately. Sit with the happiness. Let it settle into your heart before you share it with others. Your peace becomes stronger when it isn't exposed to everyone's opinions. And your blessings stay pure when they're protected from negativity or jealousy. Sharing good news is not wrong, but timing matters. Let your happiness become steady before you give it to the world. Let people notice your glow without knowing the details behind it. At this age, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your peace, your gratitude, and your gentle smile already say more than words ever could. My friend, if you've stayed with me through all these points, that tells me something beautiful about you. It tells me you care about your peace, your dignity, and your emotional well-being. And that is one of the greatest strengths a person can have in their 50s, 60s, or 70s. Because at this stage of life, you are no longer living to impress the world. You are living to protect your heart. You don't need to share everything. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to defend your choices. You've spent decades giving, adjusting, forgiving, and carrying the weight of life. Now, your peace is your priority.